briefly say hello to the people.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So sorry that I am late joining the party. I'm Dr. Jamesia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I am also one third of this extraordinary group of beautiful ladies of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Thanks for being here.
So we're talking about Fatman Scoop and his sudden passing at 53 years old.
Yeah.
And you're either at that age or not too far from it, right? And I can't, I kind of got to tell you that I feel like our generation, they are passing away earlier than the previous. So take, for instance,
You think it's earlier?
Sorry?
You think it's earlier or that we're closer to it?
No. We're passing, we're dropping at younger and younger age as the generations go, right? Because take, for instance, Frankie Knuckles. Maisha just mentioned him. James Earl Jones.
Frankie Beverly. Frankie Knuckles is a different dude.
He's a different dude. I know that.
Beverly and Maze.
In the Maze. I know that.
Y'all, please excuse Carmel. Carmel is Black for real, y'all. She is, I promise. But some Black stuff.
I was just talking about my Black card today.
We're taking her Black card.
She didn't know Fatman Scoop's music, but it's okay. We're gonna go to a club, Carmel. We're gonna go to a club.
But no, you said those songs, and I'm like, yeah, I know that music. I just didn't know who it was. Listen, y'all, I grew up I wasn't allowed to listen to rap music. Any music that we listened to, we was on the sneak tip. My mother was like, that stuff is gonna send my family to jail. I'm like, don't listen to that. So anyway,
Frankie Beverly.
I did grow up on LL Cool J and Run DMC, so please don't take my card away. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna fight for that card. Frankie Beverly, and listen, Frankie Beverly and the Maze. I know them. Yes,
in the Maze. Y'all hear this? In the Maze. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Carmel. I know. I'm sorry. Go on.
Woosah. Frankie Beverly. So my point was Frankie Beverly and James Earl Jones. They're a different generation, and they've got to experience a little bit more of that longevity that I feel that we all are looking for. But these days, I don't know how many people really want longevity, simply because it means for a lot of people illness and blindness and amputations and being hooked to a machine and dialysis and that nature. Whereas I don't know what James Earl Jones' state was before passing.
He was 93.
Right.
Yes. You know what I mean? Like eventually.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Eventually, I like the body's gonna deteriorate.
Yeah, but that's not even what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about living longer, healthier.
Right. They've gotten a chance to live longer.
Right. Yeah, they did. Yeah, James Earl Jones. Yeah.
That's the point I'm bringing up, right? Yeah. That generation, they lived a lot longer and a lot stayed healthy for a lot longer. Whereas I feel our generation, we're the ones who are getting sicker sooner. And even not showing on the outside, or even if we are still living life to the fullest, here is this youngish rapper. 53 years old is not old.
That is young.
That's young. And it's not, and frankly, at 53, I don't want to think about something that's going to come and lurking behind me and get me, because my days are numbered. And I heard somebody say, yeah, well, when it's your time, it's your time. Yes, I get that. I do. And when we get a certain age, the body will just do what, I get all of that. I do. But I'm starting to wonder what role we play in our numbered days. I'm starting to wonder, what role do we play in the quality of life that we live while we're still here? Be it that Almighty Father calls us at 53 or at 93. You feel me? So
Mhm.
those are the things that I'm thinking about that's going on in my head. It just kind of like, it kind of messed with me a little bit.
Yeah.
Dr. Jamesia, we didn't get a chance to hear from you much. Do you have any thoughts on any of it that I just mentioned?
Yeah, like there are lifestyle choices that we make that do affect our longevity. And we don't know what happened to Fatman Scoop. We don't know.
We don't know.
However, what I feel like you're saying is there are some choices that this generation of us that we're making. And I find myself making some bad choices too. I guess based on what's available to me and how I'm programmed to maybe stop at a fast food place, or which I don't do that, y'all, but maybe I will if I'm on the road, right? Or
Right.
I might eat out when I could cook at home, or I may just want to chill, Netflix and chill, whatever the case may be, instead of working out or something like that, right? So, just the choices, I guess what you're saying, that maybe James Earl Jones and maybe Frankie Beverly were of the generation that cooked more at home or watched what they ate a little bit more than what we are doing now. And so my thoughts are, yes, there are some choices that we make that contribute to our longevity or not. And
Yeah.
that is important for us to be talking about as a community.
And those things that we do have control over that you did mention,
Mhm.
fast food restaurants, cooking at home,
Mhm.
working out. Yes, those
Choices, food choices too.
food choices.
Yeah.
I believe that yes, we can we do have a say in those things. But then there are also the things that we don't have a say in,
Right.
the toxins that are in our foods that
Mhm.
we don't even know. And unless we're
Mhm.
having this conversation, how would we know, right? Unless
Mhm.
we're educating each other, how would we know? And and how we grew up with it, because everything that's in the atmosphere, everything that's in our food, that's only a few decades in. And it might have missed that older generation that I'm talking about and gotten them later on in years. Who knows? Like we
Mhm.
could eat, all of us, we have the ability to live past 100 if the conditions are right. The conditions meaning the toxins aren't prevalent and we ground and we're one with the earth and we go outside and we eliminate, or not even eliminate, but we're able to manage our feelings and our coping skills against stress and
Mhm.
our relationships, along with the foods that we eat and how much movement we take. So all of those things, I feel like all of those things are contributing factors. And I've read many, many times in many different articles and journals that this will be the generation that will not live past the years of their parents,
Yeah.
right?
Well, Carmel, uh, while you're on that subject, 80 to 85% of chronic illnesses are related to lifestyle choices.
100%, I know.
So if we can get control of that, like you said, maybe we will live
Have
at
a
least
fight.
a fighting chance to live to our parents' age or beyond.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, and I don't know if you guys remember me talking about the fear that I had for a long time that I wouldn't make it past the age of 44 because that's when my dad died. So thank God I did. But, you know,
Yeah,
that,
I've heard many people say that, especially when they had a parent that passed away so young,
mhm,
that they're like, oh my gosh, am I going to make it past that age? I know a few people like that.
mhm.
Um, you made a point. You were starting to make a point, or you made a point that anyway, I can't really remember. But as far as the lifestyle changes, now, folks, whoever's listening in on this conversation, I am in no way, shape, or form saying that Fatman Scoop could have avoided whatever happened to him. We don't know what happened to him.
I don't know.
It's inclusive. Nobody came back and said what the real reason of his collapse on stage was. This is just me trying to come to grips with what's happened, knowing that he is of our generation and he passed away instantly. Nobody expected it, right? He did have some health issues that he came right onto social media and talked about it. And he alluded to the fact that he might have had diabetes, and he also had something called cellulitis, and he had gotten COVID, and etc. All those things, which is not unheard of for many people, and many people go on to live long, successful lives. He just happened to be very, very active in what it is that he's doing, and maybe even that took a toll on his body. We don't know. We're just having a conversation. And I don't want anybody to think that, we're thinking that, he could have avoided it. He was 53 years old. And again, just about our age. And yes, Dr. Jamesia, 80%, 85%, 90%, a large percentage of our lifestyle choices has to do with how we age, whether we develop some kind of chronic disease, chronic illness, chronic condition, and how far along it is, because most of it can be resolved. It can be even reversed,
right,
with lifestyle changes. That's what got us into the mess. That's what could get us out, which means like eating our fruits and vegetables, incorporating fruits and vegetables so that they could be part of our medicine, watching what we eat, even if somebody's not completely 100% whole food, plant-based vegan, and exercise, movement. Those things are so important. And it's for us to understand the importance. But I feel like until your life is kind of like at that point where the doctor says, all right, you need to make some changes, people really don't associate the importance of the lifestyle until they're faced with a chronic condition. So I don't know if anybody wanted to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that may be true, where people, it comes down to something like, oh man, I gotta change, from something like a death of a family member, or somebody like Fatman Scoop, that we don't know for sure, but it's like, oh, it's in your face. Death is in your face. Like, I need to change something, or you get your labs back, and your cholesterol's through the roof, like me, for instance, or your hemoglobin A1C is elevated, like you, for instance, or a thyroid situation like you, Aish. So whatever it is, we are smacked with some of that stuff. And yeah, for me, I definitely was smacked with my cholesterol. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And I tried several things, and it was all diet related. All diet related. And I knew that I did not want to be at the gym all the darn time. I knew that wasn't going to work for me. I knew I had to do something else. And so I tried cabbage soup. I tried the military diet. I tried all these things. I landed on intermittent fasting, and that works for me. And incorporating some diet choices when I do eat. So, yeah.
Right. I'm happy that you mentioned that you tried all these things and then you landed where it works for you. Mm-hmm. And I kind of want to just implore folks, like, just keep working on realistic goals, and not so much diet, right? Because I don't consider intermittent fasting a diet, but a way of life, something that you can maintain through for a long time. Something, not a 30-day diet, let me try this for 3 I always, even with my 6-week programs, right? I'm always kind of like, okay, 6 weeks, but I really try to incorporate things that people feel like they can do long term, something that they see themselves doing in a year, 5 years, or 10 years, something that they enjoy, they come to like, know, and just kind of like say, you know what, I feel comfortable at this spot, be it movement, be it the lifestyle, the way they eat, all of it, because I feel it's so important. There was one time, I think when my sister started on the turmeric kick. Turmeric is an anti-inflammatory herb, and it's just amazing for us. And she told her doctor, and the doctor says, that's like long term. You got to like just take that all the time. I was like, I had such a problem with that comment. You mean to tell me? Like, and she said it in a way like, why are you doing that? That's long term. And I was just like, how many people are on pills and medications for long term?
Long term.
And it's turmeric. It flavors your food. It's good for you. It's something you could buy from a supermarket. It's
very few side effects.
Thank you. How about that part? So it's kind of like, I'd rather eat broccoli long term and turmeric long term than have to pop a pill, and I don't know what it's doing to my liver, right? So it's for us to think about things like that. I feel like pills and potions and lotions and things like that, I think that it gives people this permission to just continue living how they're living. Let me just keep doing what I'm doing because I'm on medication. And it's such a backwards way of thinking. All the side effects. We've heard these commercials. United States and one other country are the only countries in the world that allows pharmaceuticals to advertise directly to the consumers, right? And so they're telling us directly, go and ask your doctor for this drug. Go ask, oh, by the way, this is everything that could happen. You can kill yourself. You can go blind. You can lose a toe. Like all these things could happen. But it's going to erase the symptoms that you're feeling right now with reference to this chronic condition. And I feel like that gives people this permission. It's like a permission slip, right? To say, oh yeah, I can continue living the way I'm living just as long as I take this drug. So again, this is where my mind was going with all of this. Like, how? Why did it happen? Could it have been prevented? Maybe, maybe not. But that was where my mind was going with this, ladies. I don't know how much longer we can harp on this, but I don't know if anybody has anything to add to it.
Oh, Mary Kim says hello.
Hey, Mary Kim.
She's over on Instagram. Yeah, no, I don't. So I think I've come to the place in my life, having seen enough death, that I don't want to say I don't stress. For instance, I don't eat the way I do because a doctor said I had a thyroid condition. I don't work out because that a doctor said that. I would be doing that anyway. And the thyroid condition may never resolve itself, no matter what I do. Right? There's a woman that I know who's very holistic. She does all the things, and she still had a hysterectomy. There's someone that I follow who shifted her life. She is completely vegan. She's got a brain tumor that's never going away. Sometimes there are things that part of our journey as a human being is to live with whatever the thing is that we were given. Sometimes the journey is, you don't have to have this chronic condition. Let's change your lifestyle. Sometimes the journey is, you could be the healthiest person in the world, and there's the pulmonary embolism that happens and you drop dead. I don't know. The thing is I don't know. And so at this point, I do my best to, because I can only speak for me, I do my best to live my life in this way where it's like, what do I want to experience? I'm going to do my best. I'm going to enjoy my life. I think people should personally stop eating bunches of processed food and hefty amounts of sugar, and fast food places do us no good whatsoever. I would love it if everybody stopped eating fast food, seriously. And I understand why some people still do eat fast food. I understand the addictive quality of it. I understand the economics of it. I understand the racism of it. And so there's so many different factors that come into play for me when I think about people's health and wellness. James Earl Jones had diabetes. He found out about it in his 60s. He lived to be in his 90s. Right? So there are ways to live with whatever this is that's going on. If I thought about it, because here's the thing, the real determining factor for chronic conditions, the number one reason for chronic conditions is stress, right? So if I'm stressing about my health, no matter how healthy I am, I'm probably still going to create some illness. Not as fast as someone who's stressing about their health and they're not eating healthy, right? It'll take me longer to get there. But stress is the number one thing. And stress is huge in the Black community. Like, that is the biggest problem that we face. Even if I wanted to eat all the fruits and vegetables, the soil has eroded. So now those things don't even have all of the nutrients in them that they're supposed to. Even if I want to eat grass-fed beef, there's no guarantee that it's even grass-fed. They could just be smacking that on the label. Even if I want to eat whole chicken, there's no guarantee of that because it could be cloned. There's so much. And I was talking to my sister about this. There's so much happening. So at the end of the day, I think it's really important to me for people to first manage your stress levels. Like, that's the biggest thing. Manage your stress levels first. That affects your mitochondria. That affects your cellular health. And then make the healthiest choices possible given your income, your lifestyle, your whatever's going on. And the rest of it, I'm not a church person, but as they say, you got to give it to God, I guess, right? The rest of it is just a spiritual journey. We don't know when our time is up. We don't know what can happen. We have no clue. And I'm shout out. Well, Dad's not gonna see this, but like, I'm with my dad now, who's been healthy and active all his life, but he's aging, and his eyesight is doing a thing. And it's not because he's eating McDonald's or Burger King. It's just, it's what it is, you know? So I don't know. I think about it, and I think that people should do the best they can. But at the end of the day, if we're all going to exit this earth, really, it's to me at this point, it's kind of like, did you do it? Did you live with joy? Are you enjoying your life? And that's it. If you leave at 37, oh my God. If you leave at 97, it's still kind of, oh my God. But were you having the best life possible while you were here? Mm-hmm. I think is where I'm at, having seen the people pass away that I've seen pass away. That's just how I'm processing death at this point in my life.
You know what? Can I speak to that really quickly, Carmel? That what she said. I agree a little bit with what you said, Maisha, about stress, but I believe there is like a triad of things that contribute to this situation. Sure. I believe stress is one. I believe exercise is one, and I believe our diet is another. Mm-hmm. And I think that and from my perspective, if I have faith in God and I say, God, why did you give me diabetes? Please help me take it away. And he says to me, when I get up to heaven, and he says, well, girl, I gave you, I told you that right. the sugar was killing you and you kept eating it.
Yeah.
Or I told you that being over here at this job was stressing you the hell out, and I gave you an opportunity to do your own thing. So it's not just stress. And I told you exercising 3-4 times a week was good for your heart, was good for your lungs, was good for whatever. And I told you more plants on your plate, or I told you a better sex life will decrease your stress. I mean, I gave you these tools and you decided not to do anything with the tools.
Agreed. And let me be clear. I don't think stress is the only factor. I said it's the biggest factor. All of these other things are factors too. And I'm huge on personal responsibility.
Right. And
the others factor in as well. For sure. I'm not taking that away. And I'm huge on personal responsibility. I think that we each have to decide what we're going to do. I think my standpoint is just you're going to decide what you have to do. Right. And it's up to the person. Your best life,
but be informed and educated and do what you need to do. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you said, Maisha, you like it. It's their response. It's everybody's personal responsibility. Yeah. And it's for them to do everything in the best that they can. But I got to tell you that this society that we live in does not make it easy for people to live their best. Right. It does not.
That's
And
right.
that's where I feel community comes in. That's where I feel education comes in. And to do everything that you can right here and now. I don't know if there's a first step, manage your stress, second step, eat better. Like, I don't know if there's a list of first, second, and third for people. It's just kind of like, what can you do right now? Right now to really elevate you. Once you have that down, let's move to something else. Something that you can incorporate into your life that will be not too hard, something that you can adapt, really hone in on, make it your own, and then let's move on to something else and add that to the bag and keep adding our tools to our belt so that when things come up, just like that man Scoop said, I want to be able to make my body strong enough to take care of whatever it is that comes up. I want to be able to also put tools in my tool belt. When stress comes up, I can handle that like a champion. And when a toxic relationships come up, I know how to say goodbye, right? And it's for us to, I feel like for many people, not all people, because don't misunderstand me, I'm completely aware of food deserts, food apartheid, places that food is not easily accessible. But if you have access to produce, oh my God, so many people do not take advantage of it. Just do it. and give yourself that fighting chance, because with food comes, Maisha, I've heard you say it before, when you fast and you just kind of like eat light, like you the spirituality aspect of it, your brain fog clears up. It improves people's mood. So how, like, that's giving ourselves a fighting chance on the cellular level.
That's right.
In our brains, our moods, it helps with our joints and arthritis and things of that nature. So it definitely gives us this amazing, beautiful fighting chance. If we just take what we have now, like we have access to it, take advantage of it.
Agreed. Just real quick, Mary Kim said, I think to what I was saying earlier, definitely not processing and working on abuse, trauma, and grief can also eat you up alive. So I just wanted to acknowledge her comment there. And I agree with everything you all are saying. I don't disagree with any of it. I think for me, I have reached the point where it doesn't keep me up at night. Basically is what I'm saying, right? So all of this that you're all saying is very true. Having conversations with people who don't want to hear it, I'm just not interested. Like, I'm not here to convince anybody to live any kind of way or to be more responsible for their health than they want to be. You want to be responsible for something? Let's have a conversation about it. If you're insistent on walking down a path, I hold no judgment for that person. I don't know what their soul's journey is. I don't know what is going on in their life. They may never be able to overcome the thing. Go in peace. But I think I'm just, for me, everything y'all said, and for the people who want to hear it and do it, go do it. And if you're not there yet, okay.
I'm opposite of her. I'm opposite of that. Y'all need to be fasting. Stop eating all this damn food. Stop eating at a certain time. Intermittent fast, everybody out there. That's what I'm saying.
When I run into people that I've known for a long time, and I see that they're Gen X and they're wobbling and walking with a cane, it breaks my heart. How do you live your best life when you can't even walk right? Right? So I'm right in between Maisha and you, Dr. J. I really am. For those of you who are just kind of like, it falls into deaf ears, I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm here to convey this message. And you do with it what you will. I'm not going to sit there and convince anybody why they should take control over their health. However, once you come to me and tell me, listen, this is what I'm thinking. Oh, you're going to get.
Right. Exactly. And because here's my thing, at this, I don't spend a lot of time on social media. I really don't, because I have better things to do with my life. I know that there are a lot of people who spend their time scrolling to forget, scrolling because of stress. And the information is out there. right? Now there's a little bit too much information out there.
Mhm.
That's part of the problem, right? So you go to people take everything they see for face value. You go to run one reel and it says stop doing that, so people run out and stop doing that. Then you go to another reel and it says stop, and I encourage people to stop doing that too, because that's stressful. But the point is that there are places and spaces that people can go to when they are ready to create a better, healthier life. There are a lot of people for a lot of reasons, which I do not judge, because somebody could judge me for things that I didn't do. Like you, how could you not do that? Wherever you are in your life, that's just where you're at. So maybe you're not ready to deal with the fact that you are diabetic because you're overeating, and you're overeating because you're still dealing with this trauma and this emotional thing. And in order for you to stop eating the thing, you got to deal with the emotions that you're not ready to deal with. So you're going to continue to do what you're doing and think that diabetes runs in your family, right? Because the way we eat is about so much more than that. And Mary Kim said, I know so many women I know say, I'm old, there's nothing I can do. Now that's how you're thinking about age and aging, right? I feel very differently about it. I forget my age every single day. And I'm happy about that. In my mind, I'm 34. And that's probably one of the reasons that I end up staying as young as I do, because I'm just not old. I'm just not old.
So it's interesting. In my mind, I'm 50 and I'm not old, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not old, and I feel middle age, where, you know, at the rate that we're dying off, I was middle aged at 34, so
yes,
maybe even younger. But I feel like shit.
You gotta have to start writing these down, Carmel. Daggone it.
I know. I need to start taking notes as everybody's talking. I just feel like we really need to start thinking, because back to what you were saying, Maisha, with the trauma, and they're eating maybe because they have trauma. Yeah, that could be it. Or it could be because we're addicted to the foods that they put on our supermarket shelves and at the fast food restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to say that I was suffering from trauma, but heck, I was addicted to food. Heck, give me something that looks good to me. I will go back for seconds, right? And I feel like most people are addicted to food, whether trauma is involved in it or not. And it's going to catch up. But I agree with you, Maisha. Take care of the trauma. And oftentimes things kind of like have a way of sliding away. Not in a day, maybe not even in a year. But it takes work. It does take work. And people need to understand that. But again, are they ready to deal with that? Really coming.
A lot of people are not. And that's just the a lot of people are not going to be willing to do what is necessary in order to have life longevity. They're just not. A lot of people aren't willing to do what's necessary to be a successful entrepreneur. A lot of people are not willing to do, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of people aren't, because it requires us to step so far outside of our comfort zone. And human nature does not lend itself to stepping outside of our comfort zone. It lends itself to staying in a homeostasis that makes us feel comfortable. So if I'm somebody who knows that I'm walking with a cane and I've got diabetes and my joints are bothering me, but you know, half the people in my family are doing that, well, I'm in good company. If I stop doing that stuff, I could lose my family. And I don't want to lose my family. There are people who would rather die early and stay with the people and what they know. Mary Kim says complacency and mediocrity, and stay there than be alone somewhere or find new community and live healthy. And it's sad. It is sad. It's just,
it is what it is.
I mean, right. That's that. And I think that's kind of just where I am right now. So when there are people who are like, you know, like, I want to change my life, I'm like, all right, let's go, let's do it. And if I'm like, hey, you want to change your life? And people are like, yeah, well, you know, I can't because, and I mean, I was gonna, and I'm like, cool, that was cool.
Oh,
are you ready? Huh?
Or the holidays are coming up. Like, no.
Yeah. You know, so I listen, I imagine And I've had this experience. I've had the experience of making something healthier and I don't care. But having my family like, what, what is
Did
this?
you, what did you do?
What are we doing? Yeah, why would you do that? Like, why would you change that? And I'm like, because this is healthier. Now, again, I don't care. But there are people who that would just crush them and they would never do it again and close the door. Yes, this government is very clear. Y'all, if you don't know, your government does not care about you. The FDA, the USDA, all of these government entities that work with all the food companies have no interest in you actually being healthy. Nothing on the shelf. I saw fat-free tomato sauce, and I'm still baffled. Where's fat in tomatoes? Why would you need to put that on a label? Who's looking for fat-free tomato sauce? And fat isn't even the enemy. I digress. The people want you sick, they want you tired, and they want you on medication. So if everybody would just understand that, they might make different choices, but people still really believe that the government cares.
But you know what? I don't even think people even understand it to that level. People fundamentally believe if it's in a store, it's healthy.
That's right.
I really believe that we really think that.
Yeah.
Listen, up until 4 years ago, 5 years ago, pre-pandemic, that was me. Yeah, there was certain things. At the time I didn't eat beef or pork. I just ate poultry and seafood and fish. But at the time, I was still thinking, listen, if it's going in my body and I'm digesting it and I'm exercising, all is right with the world. And it's not. And it's not. And I really fundamentally believe that most people think like that. We talk about it in our groups a lot. So we have a certain amount of awareness and education that I don't think most people do. Most people are not sitting around having a conversation about health and what the government is doing and what FDA is doing and what the pharmaceutical companies are doing. They're not having those conversations.
No, they're really just trying to get through the day.
And too, I want to say this. I want to just interject this. And I know that my issue, you said that you're not here to change anybody. And Carmel, you said the same thing. I said that I am, because let me just say that even though, you have people who will come to you and, or they don't come to you at all. You give unsolicited advice like I do often, give lots of unsolicited advice. And they're like, nah, I'm not changing. I'm not going to try that. No, that doesn't work for me, whatever. And then, and I'm sure this has happened to you guys, you will see someone months later and then they say, you know what is that you were talking about? What were you doing again? How are you staying so healthy? How are you looking the same way you looked? I want to get some more information. Right?
Yes, that we need to do that. I agree.
It happens. So I feel like it's sometimes, it's okay to say, give unsolicited advice sometimes. Not all the time, like me.
I think I might take a page in your book, because I feel like when people see me, they instantly think that I want to comment on what they're eating or what they're doing or what they're not doing. I don't want to feel like that. I don't like the way that feels. But I think it's time for me to kind of like say, you're going to hear it anyway.
Well, not all the time, but you know.
No, I get you.
Yeah, beating them over the head. I think we all need to be introduced to stuff. I mean, shoot, my whole platform on everything that I do is introducing women to stuff, right? Can
you imagine if I never met you?
No, I'm so glad. but it's there's introducing to people, and then there's like beating them over the head. And so I think for me, for context, it's for instance, like, I know the trauma that and to be clear, trauma, being beat as a child is trauma. We just don't see it that way because we think it's so normal, but it is. We just don't even acknowledge it because it opens up too much. But so my mother went through serious things in her home, right? And she ended up, smoking and all of that. Now, let me tell you, I spent decades of my life, like my sister used to throw her cigarettes out. We used to break them. We used to do all the things, right? Because we're like, no, we're going to make you do different. There was nothing we were ever going to do to stop that woman. She had to come to that on her own, just like you said, Dr. Jamesia, right? So it can be presented to someone. You have diabetes, you have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol. Here is the presentation. That person still has to decide on their own. And all I'm saying is, I refuse to spend my life force energy that I could be using to create my better life and live my better health, constantly trying to drag and pull someone along to better health. But you could be doing this and you could be doing that and try to do this. Like, I have my own life to live. And maybe if they see me doing these things like they saw you, they may come back and go, so I think I'm interested in that thing. But otherwise, I'm spending my life. I did the same thing with my ex-husband who was diabetic, right? And let me pull you and convince you, and people will move when they are ready to move. In the meantime, I lost years of my life trying to get people to move. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to catch up my own life. And that's all I'm saying. Like, y'all figure out what you want to do and do it. But I'm just not here to come, drag people into the light.
I'm opening up the door and showing you the light, folks.
Listen, come on in. Like, there's so much room for everybody. But I know that there are a lot of people out there who are doing that, right? They are like beating their head trying to get people to be a different way. But don't look at me strange when I'm eating my healthy food, right? And go, are you judging me? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have it both ways, boo. Like, I'm sitting here eating healthy. Don't be looking at me like, she looking at me, looking at her like I shouldn't be eating this. No, that's you. That's you thinking you shouldn't be eating that. So maybe you make a different choice next time. But I'm going to be over here eating this.
I have people come up to me and just say, well, you know what? I eat healthy most of the time and I hardly eat meat. I'm like, where is this conversation?
You ain't ask them nothing. You're like, okay.
Right.
Like, you're not doing this for my approval. You're doing it for your health.
Yes.
And at first it will start as your approval. At first it will. And then after they get the ball rolling, they'll see the benefits of it in their own health.
Right.
Because I will sit to eat a chocolate cake in front of Carmel too.
I will too.
I will eat a salad. I will eat my burger. I will eat my cake.
Your steak.
Right. That's right. And I will appreciate what Carmel is eating as well, because she is doing what is best for her body.
And I'll look at your food and I'll be like, I remember fried chicken. Woo, those fries.
I can't eat fried chicken anymore. It makes me
I
sad.
can.
She's like, I can't.
I eat anything. I just choose.
Exactly. I know I could, because I look at the stuff and I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I remember that. Enjoy for me. But again, I say that from a place of abundance. I don't feel deprived. I know what I used to like. It still smells good to me. It still looks good to me. I don't get grossed out by people eating meat. I remember it fondly. And I'm like, but I'm in a new place, a new chapter. And I just kind of like, I don't want, like, it looks good, but I don't want it. Like, I don't want it in my body. So that's the difference. There's no deprivation here. And I wish that people could understand, see like the education piece. Like, just because you add more vegetables on your plate doesn't mean you can never say yes to a piece of chicken.
Right.
And there's this misconception that I don't want to do that because I still want to do this. Well, how about doing that, seeing what you think about it? And if that's not working for you, which you're going to feel amazing, by the way, then you go back to the way you were. But for people to just discount it because they're going to miss the foods that they love so much, I think they're doing themselves a disservice.
It is not an either or. It is a both and. And look, and we've talked about this, if I had a chef who would, and that is my plan, my goal, as somebody who comes in and literally, like Dick Gregory, like literally prepared foods according to my macro and microbiotics, that is my dream goal, to prepare meals specifically for my cellular structure, whatever that looks like, and make it taste good. That is the dream. Because left to my own devices, when I'm feeling low, I'm gonna grab an English muffin and I'm gonna put jelly on it because I need the dopamine hit because I'm tired. Oh yes, sorry, didn't forget that. You know what I'm saying? But if chef over here creates something that does the same thing, I don't need the English muffin with the butter and jelly. I don't need the English muffin with the butter and jelly. I need what it does. So prepare something over here that does the same thing. That's all vegetables. Yeah, I don't care.
But that's the thing, right? So you said you don't need it, but you just need what it does. It's about lining up and learning about the foods that will do it for you. And it won't take a chef. It can take a bowl of quinoa. I just named the vegetable. I just named the food, right? And as soon as you know, oh my God, this really satisfied. When I became whole food plant-based, it took about 3 days for me to realize that I had not craved any sugar. And the reason was I flooded my system up with so many raw vegetables that my body had everything it needed. So I didn't have to crave anything. So it's not even about, oh, let me find that food that does what that does. It's about really like finding it's sometimes it's gonna, again, everything that means anything takes a little work. And that work is finding out what gets you moving, what satisfies that dopamine hit, what satisfies your body's macro and micronutrient need and minerals, right? The different foods that are available. When it comes to meat, you pretty much have pork, you have beef, and you have chicken. And then when it comes to vegetables, there's hundreds of vegetables we can choose from that we can season with the same seasonings we put on meat, explore, experiment a little bit at a time. You don't have to do all 200-300 vegetables today. Do one. And then next week you do another. And just take it step by step like that. And that's what I really want to emphasize to people. I feel like people really think it's just big project, and I can't tackle that right now.
It's a big project. I'm telling you, as I represent the contingent of people who do not like to cook. It is like you mentioned quinoa. I love quinoa. I would have to make it in bulk because it'll be Monday at 6:00 and I'll be hungry and I'll go, ooh, quinoa, that's going to take 45 minutes. I do not want to wait 45 minutes to eat. Or like if I think I want a baked potato, I got to think about it an hour in advance because it's going to take an hour to bake the potato. I need my food in containers that I can heat up in 20 minutes or less. But if I got to cut up, if I got to slice or dice, yes, no, I'm telling you now, no. And I don't like buying it already cut up, sliced or diced either, because I like to be able to do it myself. But see, I'm that person. It's like, now I got to cut up the peppers. I don't feel like cutting up the peppers. Let me just make a sandwich. It's real. I need a chef, y'all. I need a chef.
I know, Maisha, and I wish that for you. I wish that for me too, to be quite honest with you.
Because I'll eat the same 5 or 6 things in order to, just not, you know what I'm saying? Which ends up getting very, very boring. But it does, like I said, I recognize it. It takes work.
5 or 6 of the staples, but then it is good for us to rotate the foods as well for the different nutrient profiles. But I think this is a good place for us to end simply because I have meetings and stuff coming up. But I appreciate the both of you really exploring this topic with me. And again, for those who were fans of what is Fatman Scoop? For those of you who are fans of Fatman Scoop, for those of you who knew him, loved him, spent time with him, family, friends, my condolences. And this was just for us to open up a conversation. And I'm very much concerned about the state of our health and would love. Listen, I have no other words, but yeah.
I just want to say one more thing, Carmel, too. I just want to say that, what is this person saying? I subscribe. I want to talk about love and romance with hot Black ladies. Okay, we will do that. We won't be doing it today, but we will do that. Yeah. Most likely when Maisha talks. But I do want to say to the fellas that are listening, to the men who are listening, happy or not happy, but this is Prostate Awareness month. So get your prostate checked. 1 in 8 men will develop prostate cancer. Also, if you're a Black man like Fatman Scoop, not saying he had it, but because we're talking about a Black man, you have a 1 in 6 chance of developing prostate cancer. So get it checked. It's a simple blood test. No longer do you have to get the digital rectal. So simple blood test, get it checked. It can save your life.
And there are so many ways that are pleasurable for us to actually drain some of that fluid, but I'll just leave that for another conversation for the men.
True. And there's also prostate massage where you can, you don't have to go all the way up in there, but you can do that to decrease the size of your prostate. So
had a client used to help him with that. I'm just saying. It says, I'm 48 now. I only trust my wife with checking for it, though. Hey!
Excellent.
Right. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So, folks, thank you for joining us. We are Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Thanks to all of you who have subscribed and who always tune back in. We appreciate your support, ladies. Any other words before we say bye to the good people? No? All right. We're going to say goodbye to people. See you Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Ciao, ciao.